not vote for Trump. Not that I was excited to vote for Kamala, but I did. But what I have done is facilitate food, medicine, basic essentials for children in Venezuela for over 10 years. I have developed close relationships with families there, with mothers there who have watched their children die because you cannot imagine the conditions in Venezuela. You cannot imagine parents unable to get the basic essentials for their children. I spoke to families, to mothers who watch their children die on the floors of their home. You cannot imagine. I've been posting about Maduro and the state of Venezuela for a very long time, over 10 years. So before you sit and criticize, and I can't pretend to know how this will impact America, I'm honestly just so focused on the relief I feel for the people of Venezuela. So before you want to politicize this and make this a Trump thing, look into the conditions and the quality of life for how people have been surviving and living in Venezuela. Venezuela is not occupied today. Venezuela is liberated today. Truly, learn about it, read about it. Again, I am not saying that this isn't for the oil, all that. Okay, maybe it is. Maybe it's truly sinister. But for the people of Venezuela today, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. And
heavy reinforced military.
We Venezuelans are very happy that Maduro has been captured because he has provoked the most important humanitarian catastrophe in the history of Latin America. And he's a dictator who violates human rights. On the other hand, when Trump says that he's going to run the transition, well, there's no other alternative, either if we like it or not, because the cartel of the Suns, which is the most important cartel, drug cartel in the Western Hemisphere, is running my country, Venezuela. And Nicolás Maduro is just ahead of it. But the whole cartel is still in charge of the regime in Venezuela, and it's going to be very difficult to defeat them. So we will need, again, either if we like it or not, the help of the United States and its military forces in order to defeat this cartel.
So I mean, just to clarify, though, despite the fact a lot of people are saying he's broken international law by moving into a sovereign state and removing their leader, even though, widely accepted to be an illegitimate leader, you welcome that. You welcome the fact that he's taken the initiative here. It's just what happens next you're concerned about.
Well, as I said before, there was no other alternative. We Venezuelans, and especially in the opposition, we tried every way to obtain a transition. Negotiations, elections, which Maduro, of course, stole in the 2024 elections. We tried everything, and it was impossible. Why? Because it's a drug cartel running a sovereign country. So after everything was attempted in order to recover democracy, the only way out was to use the force. And Donald Trump did not overthrow a leader of a country. He just captured the head of a drug cartel, which is responsible for distributing 20% of the cocaine that is consumed in the Western Hemisphere.
Señor, siga caminando. Presidente de Venezuela tiene derecho a guardar silencio. Cuidado con el escalón. Vamos, muévase. No tiene jurisdicción aquí. Todo eso lo discute en Miami. Suba. ¡Fuerza!
Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas. to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
We have breaking news right now. We have the first image of Nicolas Maduro. Donald Trump just posted this image of Nicolas Maduro on board the USS Iwo Jima. Nicolas Maduro was captured alongside his wife. They were in their bedroom, according to reports. They were sleeping. U.S. forces came in and captured Maduro and his wife. They are now on their way to the United States of America, to New York City, to face charges on a newly unsealed criminal indictment in the Southern District of New York. This is the first image. You can see Maduro has a face mask on, likely so that he doesn't know where he's going. He is holding some type of, I believe, a water bottle. And that is all. That is what this is the president of the United States releasing the first image of Nicolas Maduro now on a United States Navy ship heading to the United States of America. I will continue to provide you more updates as we get more information. So spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
The U.S. invaded Venezuela and kidnapped their president this morning. Right? Maduro, the president of Venezuela, is being transported back to the United States to face charges. Delta Force reportedly captured him without any American casualties, but there are reports of Venezuelan casualties. The U.S. also appears to have conducted several airstrikes across the nation, reportedly including blowing up Hugo Chavez's tomb. All while Trump didn't seek congressional approval for the invasion of Venezuela, which makes this an illegal war, nor did he tell the American public why we need to wage this war, which makes this an illegitimate war. Currently, Venezuela's vice president is in charge of the nation, but the opposition says that they're ready to take control, which has led the country down a dangerous path that could result in civil war. And the world's reaction, it's been all over the place. Brazil and Colombia, they oppose it, but Ukraine appears to support it. Russia called the invasion an act of armed aggression. The EU said they stand with the Venezuelan people and called for a solution to respect the international law and the UN Charter. Right in the through line here, it's not hard to see. American opposition to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the expected Chinese invasion of Taiwan, it's based on the rules-based international order. An order that says invading another country to take their resources and or dispose of their government is illegal. So you have people asking, how can the U.S. oppose either invasion when it's waging a war that's also illegal at home and abroad? What leg does it have to stand on? And when Venezuelan refugees begin flooding our southern border again, will Trump welcome them with open arms because he's the one that destabilized their home again? But for now, follow to stay in the loop.
My family's still in Venezuela, and I've been looking forward to this day for so many years. Thank you, President Trump.
I'm so happy because now Venezuela is free.
People have been gathering to celebrate the fall of the U.S. regime. Many of the people here told me they fled Venezuela either during Maduro's regime or during that of his predecessor, Hugo Chavez. Behind me, you'll see people chanting. Just a few moments ago, they were chanting, "It's fallen, it's fallen, the regime has fallen." The mood here is absolutely ecstatic.
What's up? We have Nicolas Maduro. He's been captured by Donald Trump. And in true fashion, those who simply do not like Donald Trump are aligning themselves with the socialist dictator. I mean, the same people who were out here wasting their time protesting, saying that they didn't want kings or dictators or, these type of people running America, suddenly have found common ground with a socialist dictator who until yesterday, oversaw one of the largest humanitarian crises in the world. The thing about socialism is that whenever it doesn't work, the socialists can always blame interference from Western countries. They never have to accept the reality the fact that socialism is a failure. It's failed everywhere it's been attempted. And ultimately, that no one is going to go to work and work hard to keep the benefits. Nicolas Maduro doing what? Nicolas Maduro was the predecessor of, well, he was the predecessor of Hugo Chavez. Wait, no, he was the predecessor. His predecessor was Hugo Chavez, who basically screwed American oil companies over. And a lot of American oil companies lost billions and billions of dollars. The story is basically American oil companies made a deal with Venezuela to build their oil infrastructure, to give them the ability to extract the oil that is in the country from underneath the earth and refine it and then sell it. After these companies had invested billions of dollars in building oil infrastructure for Venezuela, the then president of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, decided that he wanted to become a socialist. He seized the means of oil production in the country from those U.S. companies and basically kicked all of the companies out of the country besides one, I believe it was Chevron, who was allowed to stay. In my opinion, if you're someone who's like, Trump is just doing this for the oil, doesn't bother me at all, because the oil is owed. The oil is owed, or the profits from the oil is owed to America, because American companies built the Venezuelan oil producing infrastructure, and they were robbed, they were bamboozled and swindled. And I believe that they deserve to get everything that they are owed. So if that's the reason Trump did it, fine. If Trump did it to operate as a liberator of the abused and mistreated Venezuelan people, I'm okay with that too. But what I know is that you have Americans, and particularly Black Americans, who are defending an illegitimate dictator, someone who last year he rigged his country's elections. This is public knowledge. He lost to a guy by the name of Gonzalez. He lost. Everyone knows he lost. And he simply just fudged the numbers and refused to leave power. Everything these people say that they don't want for their country, they're okay with seeing take place in Venezuela. You have people saying, well, Trump, what he did was illegal. There was nothing illegal about a precision strike within Venezuela. Oh, well, he has to notify Congress if he wants to declare war. Well, you don't know how your country's run, because I don't remember Trump declaring war on anybody. I don't remember Trump declaring war on anyone. But I do know that there was a warrant that was issued for the arrest of Nicolas Maduro, and Trump sent the military in, and they were able to make good on that warrant, capturing him, and now he is on a military base awaiting trial. I really don't understand why this isn't a moment where America could come together, but I definitely see some dissension in the liberal ranks. You have liberals who actually have done humanitarian work in Venezuela, They're separating from the do-nothings. That's what I call them, the do-nothings. The people who sit on their couch, don't do anything, but want you to believe that they have all this compassion for all these different people in situations around the world. The link is in the comments. I really would love for you guys to come up and tell me where I'm wrong. Oh, Brandon's going to defend Trump. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to defend lawful action. I'm going to defend Donald Trump overthrowing a dictator. You should ask yourself, why do you have a problem with a violent dictator who abused women and children, who was illegitimate because he didn't win the election? Why do you have a problem with him being arrested? You have to ask yourself, why do you have a problem with someone who's done so much harm to the American people being arrested? And then you have to ask yourself, well, hey, maybe this is the reason my community looks messed up. Because I am always defending evil. I am always defending degenerate criminals. See, black people defending Nicolas Maduro makes total sense. Because Nicolas Maduro is the type of person that black people celebrate and praise within their community. Nicolas Maduro is the type of degenerate that black Americans allow to rule over their communities, impregnate their daughters, slaughter their sons in the street with impunity, yet still find a way to praise and celebrate. Black America worships criminality. Black America worships criminal culture. So when they see a situation like what's going on with Nicolas Maduro, they see Maduro as the hero and Trump is the villain. Trump, how dare you arrest the man who's responsible for hundreds of thousands of American deaths as the leader of the what is his cartel called? What is Maduro's cartel called? Let me get the name. Cartel de los Soles, the cartel of the sun. No, his cartel is called the cartel of the suns. He's the leader of a damn drug cartel. And like the Venezuelan representative said in the video that you guys watched earlier, this man is basically a cartel leader who's running a country. He's taken over the country of Venezuela. And the people are not free. And he says clearly, Venezuela has been liberated.
Reinforced military.
And he said, for Trump to run Venezuela, they said there's no other choice. He said there's no other choice because he said they are fighting a drug cartel that has taken over their country and they are powerless to stop them. Yeah, Trump is talking about Tren de Aragua. But the cartel that Nicolas Maduro is a part of is Cartel of the Suns. I'm gonna play that part again. I want to play that part again so you guys could understand. This is real. And I want the Trump haters. I want the Venezuelan drug cartel leader defenders. Where are you guys at? Where are you guys at? Oh, wait. You can only promote propaganda, but you can't defend the ideas that you claim to hold. That's what I'm noticing. All these people do is promote propaganda. I have a friend, he's on Facebook. nonstop. Oh, Trump did, Trump that, all this. Not even one mention of the victims of Maduro. These people are sociopaths. They don't care how many people get hurt. As long as they believe that their ideas are being defended. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. You got all these people. I mean, I don't know what they do with their free time. I don't know if they have jobs or what, but they're hell bent on this idea of socialism. You literally had people like Bernie Sanders praising Venezuela as an example of socialism working. Women can't even buy tampons. Kids don't even have diapers to wear. They don't even have food. They're standing in food lines to get something to eat. And Bernie Sanders is praising this crap. I'm going to play this again.
We Venezuelans are very happy that Maduro has been captured because he has provoked the most important humanitarian catastrophe in the history of Latin America. And he's a dictator who violates human rights. On the other hand, when Trump says that he's going to run the transition, well, there's no other alternative, either if we like it or not, because the cartel of the Suns, which is the most important drug cartel in the Western Hemisphere, is running my country, Venezuela. And Nicolás Maduro is just ahead of it. But the whole cartel is still in charge of the regime in Venezuela, and it's going to be very difficult to defeat them. So we will need, again, either if we like it or not, the help of the United States and its military forces in order to defeat this cartel.
So I mean, just to clarify, though, despite the fact a lot of people are saying he's broken international law by moving into a sovereign state and removing their leader, even though, widely accepted to be an illegitimate leader, you welcome that. You welcome the fact that he's taken the initiative here. It's just what happens next you're concerned about.
Well, as I said before, there was no other alternative. We Venezuelans, and especially in the opposition, we tried every way to obtain a transition. Negotiations, elections, which Maduro, of course, stole in the 2024 elections. We tried everything, and it was impossible. Why? Because it's a drug cartel running a sovereign country. So after everything was attempted in order to recover democracy, the only way out was to use the force. And Donald Trump did not overthrow a leader of a country. He just captured the head of a drug cartel, which is responsible for distributing 20% of the cocaine that is consumed in the Western Hemisphere.
Señor, siga caminando. Presidente de Venezuela. Tiene derecho a guardar silencio. Cuidado con el salón. Vamos, muévase. No tiene jurisdicción aquí. Todo eso lo discute en Miami. Suba.
So whenever you actually talk to a person from Venezuela or you talk to a Venezuelan politician, they're happy about Trump getting rid of Maduro. The only people who aren't happy about Trump getting Maduro are white liberals and their black lapdogs. Because, black people, for some reason, we don't think that we're capable of thinking for ourselves. So we have to take whatever white liberals say, and we have to run with that. Because we can't look at the facts and come to a conclusion. Let's go right here. What are you saying? Dude, you should shut your mouth. Word on the East Coast, Tarka Bay had you running like a little, man, I don't know what's going on with these people. Tarka Bay. Anyway, yeah, you guys, look, you want to say something? The link is in the comments. This is what I'm telling you. Black people in the United States, a lot of us, too many of us, we have no comprehension skills. Look at this guy, Drill Will. Brandon, Weak argument. Is the CIA not a cartel? No, it's not. Unless you're going to show evidence of the CIA today currently moving drugs across South America into the United States. The CIA is a intelligence agency. Have they been implicated in different drug activities? Yeah, back in the 80s, the 80s. But as of now, I don't understand what the CIA has to do with any of this, because the CIA is no friend of Trump's, and Trump ain't no friend of the CIA. Isn't the CIA a drug cartel? He thought he ate with that. What does that have to do with Venezuela? The CIA could just get disbanded. That's my question. But we have to deflect. Look, Drill Will, we're focusing on whether or not Trump was right to remove Nicolas Maduro from power in Venezuela. That's what we're focused on. Was Trump right to remove a dictator who stole the election last year? They caught him. They literally caught him because the opposition knew he was going to try to steal the election. So they set up a clever system that could detect when votes were cast or whatever. And basically, they counted the votes themselves before the Maduro regime counted the votes, and they came to a certain number, and then Maduro's number was nowhere close to that. Maduro had himself winning the election 51 to 49%. Meanwhile, the reality was he lost in a landslide. The opposition leader, Gonzalez, won 67% to 30% of the vote. But the link is in the comments. If you guys have an opinion on it, just click the link and come up. I mean, at some point, black people are going to have to stop living hinged on it, living based on conspiracy. Whether or not you think whatever you think about the CIA, this has nothing to do with the CIA. The CIA was a cartel. Okay, and what does that help? How is that benefiting you? You have a problem with the CIA, they're a cartel, but you're okay with Maduro, who is the leader of a cartel. You defend him, but condemn the CIA. Hey, I'll say the CIA and Maduro are bad. Anybody who traffics drugs is bad. I can say that easily. But our people, we have to operate in cognitive dissonance. We have to say one cartel is good, but this other cartel is bad. Why don't we just all say that all cartels are bad? I literally, why can't we just say all cartels are bad? Oh, the CIA, because white folks control that. That one's bad. But the Maduro Brothers of the Sun, that one's good. But I'm the person with the problem. I think all cartels are bad. I think all drug dealers are bad. I think gang members are useless and a waste of space in the black community. I don't have time for cognitive dissonance. If something is bad, it's bad. And I'm not going to sit up trying to figure out how something that's bad is good. I'm happy Trump did what he did. I'm glad he got Maduro's ass out of there. Maybe the people of Venezuela can create some type of life for themselves. But what I know for a fact is there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. There's a lot of hypocrisy that's happening. Because what I know is, if you look at the situation right now, you have the politicians that these people vote for, like Bernie Sanders. They're hypocrites. And they are literally they're literally steeped in hypocrisy. I want to show you, there's a guy named David Pakman, right? He's a liberal commentator. And 6 years ago, bruh, hold on, let me get this dude out here. 6 years ago, David Pakman was calling Bernie Sanders out, saying that Bernie Sanders should condemn the Maduro regime. This is what I'm trying to share with you guys. 6 years ago, liberals were condemning Nicolas Maduro. And they were calling on their leadership to join them in condemning Nicolas Maduro. Now, all of a sudden, they're defending him.
Okay, I believe that Bernie Sanders should condemn the Maduro regime in Venezuela. Wait, don't downvote this yet. Just do me the courtesy of listening to what I have to say and watching the video before you dislike it on YouTube or send me angry email, which I know you will anyway, okay? Just consider listening to what I have to say first. There's a contingent of the audience that's going to crush me for this story.
Now listen, even the liberal commentary, David Pakman, is like, I know that you guys won't listen to anything I have to say. I know that as soon as you guys hear certain statements, you're immediately triggered and you go on the attack. He knows his audience. He knows these liberals are not listening to anything. They get an idea in their mind. They come to a conclusion in their mind. And anything that you say that even remotely criticizes what they want to believe, that is immediately shot down, attacked, and now you're Nazi, you're Hitler, you're evil, all the usual.
I don't care, okay? I just tell it as I see it, disagree, agree, whatever. I'm telling it to you as I see it and in good faith with peace and love. A friend of the show, Bill Scher, has a really good article in Politico, which we're linking to, arguing that Bernie Sanders could do away with all confusion on this issue of his view of Venezuela and Nicolas Maduro. And he can do it specifically to stop Republicans from smearing him as wanting to make the United States like Venezuela. Now, we all know, and by that I mean the core audience that has a connection to reality, we all know that when Bernie Sanders has talked about democratic socialism and or social democracy, he's not talking about making the US like Venezuela. He's talking about Denmark and Sweden. Bill Scher lays out very clearly how the right is now using Venezuela to smear not just actual socialism, but social democracy as well. And on Monday, I talked with you about what is actually a very old tactic. Smearing social democrats as communists and socialists goes back 100 or more years at this point. And front and center right now, we have Donald Trump at the State of the Union declaring we will never be a socialist country. We have Mike Pence using a similar line or similar argument. And what Bill Scher points out in his article is that Bernie Sanders historically has mostly talked not about being socialist like Venezuela and Cuba, but being socially democratic like Denmark and Sweden, which of course we understand is not socialism. Social democracy is a mixed capitalist economy, not a socialist system. And I've pointed out before, Bernie Sanders may well sort of come from the Vermont hippie democratic socialism school, but the policies that he's advocating for today are 100% not socialist policies. Medicare for all in a capitalist system. College tuition to state colleges and universities paid for through taxation in a capitalist system with private property and without socializing the means of production. Business regulation of capitalist businesses. This is social democracy. It's not socialism. And I've pointed out that it's a mistake for anyone who's a social democrat to call themselves a democratic socialist because it makes smearing them even easier for the American right. So Bernie Scher points out is an authoritarian, kleptocratic oligarchy. He has also made that clear. Venice cannot be involved in regime change. Based on what he should think about Venezuela, he's already told us what his view is on Venezuela. The U.S. cannot be involved in regime change. Bernie has made that clear in Venezuela. But Nicolas Maduro cannot be supported in Venezuela. And Bernie has also made that clear. Venezuela, as Bernie Sanders has clarified, as Bill Scher points out, is an authoritarian, kleptocratic oligarchy. Bernie has already attacked the suppression of democracy in Venezuela.
Okay, so these are the Democrats. They're telling you Venezuela is a kleptocratic oligarchy. It's not a socialist utopia. There's nothing good going on in Venezuela. People are being abused. People are being killed. People are starving. They don't have enough food to eat. Nicolas Maduro is the leader of that. Hugo Chavez is the cause of it. And Nicolas Maduro is the person who's continuing the nightmare that Hugo Chavez started. Carlos Parks, the link to come up if you want to add something is in Messenger on Facebook. So if you want something to say, you should click in and come up. But yeah, so they're admitting that Venezuela is a shithole and that Nicolas Maduro is a dictator. These are Democrats admitting this 6 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, now, mind you, who was in office back then? Who was in office back then? It was like the end of Trump's, should have been the end of Trump's first term. Where were 2006? Yeah. We were going towards the end of Trump's first term, and Biden was coming in. So why didn't the Democrats do anything about it? They knew it was a dictatorship. They knew it was an oligarchy. They knew it was basically being run by kings, right? But they did nothing and they said nothing. The whole time, the Venezuelan people are suffering. Women and children are dying. They did nothing. They did nothing, even though they knew that the situation there regarding the politics was totally corrupt and that the humanitarian rights violations were piling up.
Venezuela is quickly failing. Multi-day blackouts, astronomical inflation, all of the stuff we've discussed. But this isn't me telling you. Bernie has already pointed this out. Bernie's pointed out that the crackdown on civil society that is the Maduro regime cannot be supported. So Bernie Sanders doesn't need to come up with any new commentary on Venezuela.
So Bernie Sanders is the one who's already saying this. Bernie Sanders is the person sending the messaging out to his people. Hey, Venezuela's a dump. It's a waste. Multi-day blackouts. Anyone who even mentions democracy is getting imprisoned or straight up exterminated. Bernie Sanders said all this, right? Straight from David Pakman's mouth, quoting things that Bernie Sanders has said.
Changed his view. He's already said it all. He should just condemn what is going on and say, under no circumstances am I talking about making the U.S. like Venezuela. He is against the U.S.-led regime change in Venezuela. I'm against U.S.-led regime change in Venezuela. Bernie's pushing for social democracy, a well-regulated mixed economy like Sweden or Denmark. That's what I've been talking about on the program for years, period. And as Bill Scher points out in his article, Bernie Sanders doesn't have to side with Trump on this issue. Bernie Sanders doesn't even have to recognize Juan Guaido as a legitimate interim president. He doesn't have to do any of that stuff. He can just say very clearly and unequivocally, I don't know why Republicans are talking about me wanting socialism like in Venezuela. I'm running on social democracy. I'm running on the systems that Sweden and Denmark have. And my proposals match that, not what we see in authoritarian, kleptocratic paradise, Venezuela, period. I hope Bernie will do it. Bring on the hate.
So they know it's kleptocratic. They know it's authoritarian. They know that Nicolas Maduro is a dictator, right? So tell me, and Carlos, I see you in the back. So tell me why today Bernie Sanders is attacking Donald Trump, removing a dictator who he said himself is kleptocratic. He says the man is an authoritarian. He acknowledges that Maduro has committed atrocities and human rights violations. Why is Bernie now attacking Trump for getting rid of this person? And why wasn't Bernie pushing for Biden to get rid of this person?
The President of the United States does not have the right to unilaterally take this country into war, even against a corrupt and brutal dictator like Maduro.
Now, here's what he's saying. The President of the United States doesn't have the right to take this country into war, right? And Bernie is very clever. He's an old dog. Bernie is an old dog, but he's a clever old dog. Because if you listen to what they say, they choose their words very carefully. He's 100% right. Trump does not have the right to take this country into war. He doesn't. You need a vote from Congress to go to war. But Trump does have the power as the commander-in-chief to order precise, precision military operations to achieve a goal. You know, like the Marines, you guys might not know this, the Marines, that's like the president's personal fighting force. He can send the Marines anywhere in the world for as long as he wants to do whatever he wants them to do without a formal declaration of war. But what the Democrats do is they know you guys, Carlos, give me less than 2 minutes. They know that most people don't know how the country is run. So once you find out and understand how your country actually works, none of the Democrats' tactics work on you. You actually become angry because you can't believe that they're trying to pull these stupid tricks on you.
Trump's attack on Venezuela will not make the United States and the world safer. This brazen violation of international law gives a green light to any country on earth that may wish to attack another nation to seize their resources or change their governments. Donald Trump has once again shown his contempt for the Constitution and the rule of law. Let's be clear. The President of the United States does not have the right to unilaterally take this country into war, even against a corrupt and brutal dictator like Maduro. The United States does not have the right, as Trump stated this morning, to run Venezuela. Congress must immediately pass a war powers resolution to end this illegal military operation and reassert its constitutional responsibilities. Trump's attack on Venezuela will not make the United States and the world safer. Quite the contrary. This brazen violation of international law gives a green light to any country on earth that may wish to attack another nation to seize their resources or change their governments. This is the horrific logic of force that Putin used to justify his brutal attack on Ukraine. Trump and his administration have made it clear that they want to revive the Monroe Doctrine, a belief that claims that the United States has the right to dominate the affairs of the hemisphere. They have spoken openly about controlling Venezuela's oil reserves, the largest in the world. Let's make no mistake about it. This is rank imperialism. It recalls the darkest chapters of U.S. interventions in Latin America, which have left a terrible legacy.
And and so we've heard enough from Bernie, but do you guys see how quickly socialism can turn into authoritarianism and genocide? Bernie is basically saying, I don't care if there were women and children dying and suffering under Maduro. I don't care what kind of atrocities Maduro was committing over in Venezuela. Bernie doesn't give a damn. Bernie is like, I don't want Trump doing this. I don't like the idea that Trump is doing this or that. So if millions of people have to die, so old man Bernie can get his way, old man Bernie is okay with that. He doesn't give a damn about you. You think that guy cares about you? He tricks you with this idea of we're going to give you a bunch of free shit. But in reality, Bernie Sanders is one of the most heartless politicians there is. The man turned against the police departments of America over Black Lives Matter, but nah, we should let this illegitimate dictator stay in power because we don't like the Monroe Doctrine or because the president doesn't have the right to unilaterally take us into war. This guy's a buffoon. What up, Carlos?
Nation, I'm on the way out right now, but yeah. So I would like to discuss the facts. Yes, come on. Yeah. So I feel like you make a valid point. Like I said in my text, y'all put your shoes on. But so does Bernie, right? And I say this from a position of I'm not a Democrat or Republican, man. I don't choose to join either team, right? So my position is not biased, right? Normally when you have someone that's like the Giants or the Redskins, right? If you like the Giants, I like the Redskins. We're not going to see eye to eye because we are biased. We have a horse in the race. I don't in this particular case. I don't care about Democrats or Republicans. I don't care for Democrats or Republicans, right? And as far as what we did, it's I think what you're trying to do, Brandon, is use and correct me if I'm wrong, right? I might be wrong, but you're using a moral judgment, right? So what Bernie is saying, it is illegal. It is, right? It's absolute fact. It's illegal, right? And there's another thing. We haven't intervened on so many other um dictatorships, right? Like in Africa, right? There were genocides occurring, and we didn't intercede, we didn't intervene. So I feel like the United States always has an ulterior motive. They always have an ulterior motive. Why did they intervene in Venezuela, right? And you have to look at historically the relationship between the United States and Venezuela. They've always hated the West, right? They burned an effigy of Donald Trump in his first presidency. Like they can't stand us. They don't like what we stand for, right? And when I say us, because we live here, but it's not, I don't know. It's not my country. I don't support what the United States does a lot of times. I just happen to live here. But I will acknowledge that what they did, they weren't supposed to do. That's a fact. That's against the law. And that's all Bernie is saying.
I
Bernie,
don't think.
it's
I think
so
Bernie's
you're
wrong.
saying it's not against the law? You're saying
It's not
that we
against
had
the
a
law.
it's legal to go and so you use the the door not locked, y'all. Go ahead, get in. You use the moral position when justifying what he did, but legally could he do it?
He legally can do that.
No, he legally cannot.
Yes, he can.
What?
Donald Trump can
Okay,
legally.
all right. Show and prove. Show and prove.
All right.
Okay, so you tell me how it is legal for the United States to go into an another country and to seize their president, to take their president captive. That's kidnapping, right? Like what was the legal standing? They didn't even present one. What was the
Okay.
legal argument for going in there?
Okay. So what we'll do
Legally,
is
not morally, not morally. I'm
right.
talking about legally.
No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
We'll go here. We'll go here.
Okay.
Okay. So what we'll do, the best thing to do is look at the legal challenges, right?
What do you mean by challenges? Could you what do you mean?
Well,
We
okay.
go get some to eat.
Yeah.
When people are saying that something is illegal or
Meaning
legal
against the law, against the law.
right, against
The
the law.
law.
What they're gonna,
International law.
what they're gonna do is they're gonna try to find precedent that proves that what was done was illegal. And the reality is nothing that was done was illegal, because if you look at the law that they're claiming Trump broke,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't cover what Trump actually did. You understand that?
So what do you mean it doesn't cover what he did?
All right, I'm gonna show you right here. So if you look at what I posted up,
Y'all buckled?
Yes.
Okay.
right here, they're saying that Trump violated a UN charter. And it says, so I'm gonna read this. It says experts in international organizations, including the UN Special Reporter on Human Rights, states the strikes constitute an illegal aggression and a violation of the UN Charter, which prohibits the use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of
You went
any
out.
state, right? So here's the issue. Trump did not try to take territory. He didn't go in. He's not doing what Russia is doing. Russia is aggressing against Ukraine because they want to seize territory from Ukraine. That would be a violation of the UN Charter. Also, Trump is not attempting to compromise the political independence of Venezuela. He's not going to get Maduro and saying, well, now I'm the president of Venezuela.
He's going to put someone in place, and which is what we're known for doing, right?
There are
we
already
topple governments, and then we reestablish a government that supports our position and allows us to
you have to understand. You have to understand. Hold on.
So understanding is not something that I lack in, right? I understand perfectly well, right? I have a very high IQ, right? So your IQ is to judge how well you comprehend complex ideas and situations or things, right?
Right.
I'm very well in understanding.
So what I want you to understand is this, since you understand. Last year, Venezuela held an election. It was between Nicolas Maduro and Edmundo Gonzalez. Right.
Okay.
So
Nicolas, I know they
Nicolas
stole the election. Right.
Right. So listen. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Edmundo Gonzalez beat Nicolas Maduro in that election. Currently, right now, the person who's running Venezuela is Nicolas Maduro's vice president. It's a woman. She was sworn in when he was arrested. So this idea,
Brandon,
you guys are
pertinence. How is that pertinent?
Well, it's pertinent because
it takes place all over the United
I'm getting
States,
there.
like in Africa. Again, I'm gonna talk.
Whoa! Hold on, slow down. It's pertinent because everyone's saying Trump's trying to do regime change, but the same regime is still in power. Maduro's vice president was sworn in. Same thing that would happen if Trump was arrested. J.D. Vance would then be sworn in as president. So where's the regime change that you guys are saying is going to happen? And if everything went the way it's supposed to go, Edmundo Gonzalez should be installed as president of Venezuela because he is the democratically elected leader of Venezuela, but Maduro refused to concede power.
All right. Okay. So again, we're not talking about I'm thinking about the law. You know, I'm thinking about
that's legal, what I'm thinking about too.
Right? Okay, so what I'm saying is he legally couldn't do what he did, and he did it anyway.
No, there was no legal
charter. So in your opinion, so I can't beat you with opinions, right? Like
it's not an opinion.
But what you read was the UN Charter agreement, right?
Yes.
And it showed where he violated it, right?
No, it didn't show it.
In your opinion, he didn't violate
I didn't say in my opinion.
All right, okay, but you said but what happens, right?
Let's break it down to this. Let's break it down to this. Show me where Donald Trump used force against the territorial integrity of Venezuela.
So who is the president of Venezuela?
Nicolas Maduro.
All right, so he's the leader of that country.
Illegitimate president.
That's not. We see, Brandon. Come on, man, stop doing that.
Okay,
man.
let's say he's
your opinion. Okay, that's your opinion.
Let's say that's not my opinion because you just said you know that he stole the election. You just said that earlier.
It's my opinion.
No, that's a fact.
It's our opinion. We don't have factual proof of that.
That is a fact that everyone in the world agrees upon. He was proven to have stolen it.
You can't make a general statement like that everyone in the world agrees.
What are you talking about?
That's a generalization. First of all, you're not every person in the world, so you can't speak to their knowledge.
Carlos,
you can't make those type of generalized statements.
The United Nations acknowledged that Nicolas Maduro stole the election.
All
so
right,
what are you talking
let's
about?
back up for a second. I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about. You just made a statement. You said that's a fact that everyone in the world agrees upon. That's called a generalization. When you take, you don't have the authority to speak on everybody else's beliefs. All I can do is speak on the facts. The fact is this:
all international governing bodies, I want you to acknowledge that all international governing bodies, the people whose opinions matter, they have concluded that Nicolas Maduro stole the Venezuelan election.
I don't know about all.
All
of them. The majority.
Well, so their opinion is what
I will
is.
say this. I don't know, Brandon. I don't know the answer to that question. I will say I don't know the answer to that question. If you say so, I believe you, right? I don't know the answer to that question. If you say they did, right? But that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making here, right, is if you make, like, if the Ku Klux Klan is responsible for hanging people historically, right? So, and then somebody gets hung and the Ku Klux Klan was there, right? You're going to automatically make the assumption that it was them who did it, right?
That's why we have trials.
Exactly. But I'm talking about when before trials, you have to do the investigative process, right? During your investigative process, one of the things that you look at is history, right? You look at the history. You can't ignore the historical facts, right?
You in the weeds right now.
I'm not. I'm making a perfectly clear point. I'm making a good point.
We're still going on whether or not.
How am I in the weeds? I'm trying to point out something.
Because we know that Nicolas Maduro is not the legitimate president of Venezuela.
All right, okay. I'm somewhere else. You said
exactly.
I'm somewhere else. Okay. You saying legitimate? He's the legal president. He holds the position. So he holds the position. He holds the position legally. Right?
I wouldn't say legally, but he holds the position.
Okay, if he didn't legally hold the position, he would be charged, right? So that's what the law is for. We're not Venezuelan. But
who's going to charge him when he's in control of the cartel that is in control of the army?
That's exactly why we live in a democratic nation, right? Because we don't want to deal with that stuff that they go through when they deal with tyrants, right? So that's something they deal with. But there are so many other countries in the world that deal with the same thing, and we don't intervene when they do it.
Okay, so I'm bringing this back to the.
You can't pick and choose.
I'm bringing this back to the UN. I'm going to bring this back to the legality. Trump did not use a strike to take any territory within Venezuela. That is what the UN prohibits. He did not. He did not strike Venezuela to take sovereign territory.
Did he use military force?
He used military force, but that's not what's barred by the UN Charter. What's barred by the UN Charter is to use military force to seize territory from a sovereign nation. Trump did not take no territory.
He took the whole nation.
He didn't take the whole nation. How?
So
the president.
But if they're saying that he's going to run Venezuela,
he said we're going to run.
Taking it.
Listen. He said he's going to run Venezuela in the meantime.
How was that not taking it?
It's not taking it because they have a president.
Is he borrowing it?
They have a president. She's been sworn in, and clearly,
so who's running it?
Their president at this point. The United States doesn't have any troops on the ground in Venezuela, bro.
Nah, because they have plants. Put it
you mean people within the legitimate government who work with the United States so that they can have their democracy?
People who they felt they could flip to their liking, right?
Well, that would be your opinion because you have no proof of that.
All right, and you shared your opinion quite a few times.
No, I didn't. I read the charter and I said.
No, but you just said that the president was illegitimate. That's your opinion.
No, that is the opinion of the international community.
It's still an opinion, Brandon.
Okay, which is fine. But what I'm saying, you said Trump
doesn't share your opinion,
and that is true. So you said Trump broke the law, and I'm showing you that Trump did not break any law. He didn't break any law.
No, you're saying he didn't break law because he didn't seize it. He did seize it.
He didn't seize any territory.
Regardless of how long he seized it. When they removed the president, before they put the vice president in power, they had power.
You have to listen. You have to listen.
A second.
You have to listen. Okay, so what United States troops are currently there protecting the land that was seized? Russia took land from Ukraine. When they take the land, they move military assets into there.
You said protecting the land that was seized?
Yeah.
Okay, then he seized it.
No, he didn't. Where are the it was a hypothetical question to prove that what
Okay.
you're saying is not true.
So you
Where
say
are
he
the
didn't
U.S.
seize it.
soldiers? Where are the U.S. soldiers that would be required to be on the ground to protect the United States asset that they just seized?
So if you use simple logic, when they
That's what I'm using.
I want you to continue to use it, right? So when they removed the president, do you think the United States had anyone in position to take over? Do you think they already knew that the vice president would take the seat?
Yes, because that's what a vice president does. If the president is indisposed, the vice president steps into his position.
Okay, so the president of the United States knew if he removed the president, that it would fall on the vice president. He knew that, right? They knew that.
Yes.
So do you think they had a relation prior to doing this with the vice president, or do you
That would
think
be
they
speculation.
just hold up? I'm using logic. There's a
No, you're
difference between
speculating.
okay, I'm using logic. I'm
To
using
speculate.
logic. There's a difference. There's a difference between logic and speculation, right? So logically, I'm asking you a question. Do you think the president thought far enough into the future, right? We playing chess, not checkers. Do you think he thought far enough into the future to determine, okay, if I remove him from power, who's going to take power? Do you think the president thought about that?
Of
Okay,
course, they have to.
so let's just say logically, like this is just deduction, right? The president knew upon taking the Venezuelan president out of the picture, he knew who would take over the regime. He already knew that. So he already knew that this person taking over the regime would favor what he had in mind for Venezuela.
No, she doesn't
already knew
favor
that.
what he has in mind.
Okay, well, she would be easier for them to work with. I'm trying to say it without. You already know where I'm going with it, right? He already knew. She's like a lapdog.
We don't know that. How do you speculating?
Okay, this is what I concluded. Through my deduction, this is what I concluded. Because you said there are no troops on the ground to maintain control of Venezuela, right? There are no troops there.
No,
so that
no
means
US
the
troops.
president, that means that the United States already knew when they employed this tactic, they already had things in position. Right? Again, we're playing chess. You're thinking several moves ahead. Before they went and took that president, they already started positioning their pieces on the board.
And your story sounds good, but you have to acknowledge it's speculation. You don't know any of this for fact.
I absolutely don't know any of that for fact, right?
So,
but I do know historically. That's what the United States has done. And another thing that they do is they turn through the press, through the usage of the press, they turn people against the dictators that they remove. Remember what happened with Gaddafi?
He turned people against himself.
Gaddafi tried to offer black people in the United States $1 billion. The United States told him no. And they told Farrakhan he couldn't accept it.
Man, Gaddafi was a Muslim
the United
dictator,
States
bro.
wouldn't pay us reparations.
Gaddafi was a Muslim dictator.
Gaddafi was going to give it to us.
Listen,
but the United
Gaddafi was
States
a
did
Muslim
not
dictator.
I have a question. What did
Hold on
they
real
do?
quick.
They removed him, and then they made him look bad in the press. But we find out years later, this man was loved by the continent of Africa. He was trying to unite Africa. So that was another reason why he was removed. So historically, the United States is known for doing these things. So I don't put anything past them. Just like I won't put anything past the Klan. If they all of a sudden they're not doing anything, you think that history won't repeat itself? You think the United States won't continue to employ the same tactics? It's an illogical conclusion. That's a non sequitur.
I think the United States will continue to do what they've been doing. But what I'm
We're
saying,
gonna let him cook because I gotta go in. I gotta feed these kids, man.
All right,
I gotta feed these kids. If you still on, I'll jump on after we eat.
We'll still be here. Okay, so basically, the United States, in my opinion, went in for the oil situation, and I think they were legitimate in doing so. There was agreements made back in 2005. Venezuela allowed American oil companies to build their oil infrastructure, and then when it was done, the president Hugo Chavez declared himself a socialist, and he seized the means of oil production. He pulled the rug out from under the American oil companies, and they lost billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. I think the United States has a right to go in and claim what rightfully belongs to American oil companies. But as far as the laws that were broken, Donald Trump did not break any law. He didn't break any international law because he didn't strike to seize any part of their sovereign territory, and he did not strike to compromise their political integrity. At this point, Dulce Rodriguez, who is the vice president of Nicolas Maduro, is now acting president. So it continued to go in succession. And America already had agreements in place with Venezuela over the oil production situation. And if they move in to claim what is rightfully theirs, they are within their right. Go ahead, Cornelius. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good, bro. Nah, but oh boy was just like tripping me out because he's like talking about like international law, and I just wanted to ask him like, what international law did he break? Like, he can't name anything. You give him the facts, he tells you the facts are not true, and then he starts speculating and then start telling you that that's true because like history and stuff. He said, why didn't he intervene in Africa? Trump was just bombing Nigeria in Africa, so like that just happened. Like, so I don't know what he has no clue what's going on.
And the UN said nothing about it.
Nothing about it. And then of course Trump had full right to do what he do because they are in the Western Hemisphere. Let's just make that straight. Venezuela is doing business with Iran, hate America, China, hate America, Russia, hate America. They all hate America, and they're using Venezuela to infiltrate American economy and, you know, all of our stuff that way. So of course you want to shut that down to hurt your enemies. So that's what he's doing. And now what's also crazy to me is they've been protesting all 2025, calling Trump a king, a dictator, an authoritarian. And now they're on the street protesting to free a dictator, authoritarian. Like, it's just, they make no sense. It's
cognitive dissonance. It's cognitive dissonance, and it's evolving.
And then it's like, and then they got like signs already printed up and stuff. Like, how did this, how are y'all getting this organized so fast? Like, it's quite insane. You feel me? And then they knew he was going to be in New York. So, you know, New York is always one of them blue states where they have all these. They probably got a whole printing press just to make signs for everybody and stuff like that. So it's like, and then this dude is on here complaining about it. And he's like, why is he more mad than the people in Venezuela?
Yeah, because they just hate Trump. And instead of just saying, I hate Trump and I don't like him, they try to find a justification for disliking Trump. There's no reason really to not like Trump at this point. I mean, he's been in office for 1 year, bro. Look at all the things this guy's got accomplished. It's crazy.
For real. And everything, and if you think about these people, like, think about this. He put tariffs on China. They sided with China. He bombed an Iran nuclear site. They stood with Iran.
Yep. Number one world sponsor of terrorism. Blow you up without even, they'll blow up 1 million Americans without even thinking about it. But
not even thinking about it. No, don't care what color you are. And then they bomb Israel. October 7th happened. They sided with Hamas.
Right.
Okay, here we go with this. You know what I mean? Now Trump is bombing drugs, narco boats in the thing. They're siding with the narco terrorists. Trump goes and removes a dictator. They're siding with the dictator. It's like, oh my! You could just tell these people they're honestly evil people. And this stuff that's actually going on, Maduro being in power, actually translate to Democrats staying in power. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Him moving. Actually, Trump shutting down Venezuela probably actually hurts the Mexican cartels as well, because China used Venezuela to get stuff to Mexico. Iran uses stuff to get stuff to Mexico. You know, all these other Russia uses stuff to operate in Mexico. So him shutting down Venezuela is actually not only knocking off Venezuela and freeing the Venezuelan people, but it's also throwing a wrench in the operation for all of the people that are operating against us. So this is very strategic. I don't know why people are mad about, like, I don't know. They like much rather be ran by China, or they don't want to move to China. They don't want to move to Russia. They damn sure don't want to move Iran, but they want America to be those places. It's bewildering.
I mean, if you really think about it, these people are so messed up mentally, man. They're right now in the streets saying that they would rather have Nicolas Maduro as their president in the United States than Donald Trump.
And these are the same people crying about affordability. It's like
they want to they're crying about being broke, but they are voting for bread lines. Now make some sense to me. Like let me just show you this really quick because this is absolutely funny. This is hilarious, by the way. Let me I'm gonna go here, then I'm gonna go back.
Right in charge than a billionaire. Okay, let's put it that way.
Nicolas Maduro could come and be our president. Yeah. Oh, any day. Any day. Look, all the check marks are there. He's not white. Okay, he's a minority. Okay, he looks a little too much like Saddam Hussein, though.
Do you trade Trump for Maduro?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think Trump. I think Maduro was democratically elected.
Probably, yeah, sure.
More than likely, yes, of course.
If there's a Nicolas Maduro out here who's going to bring us to revolution, I will support that movement.
I would rather have a bus driver in charge than a billionaire. Okay, let's put it that way.
Nicolas Maduro could come and be our president. Yeah. Oh, any day. Any day. Look, all the check marks are there. He's not white. Okay, he's a minority. Okay.
Let the Venezuelan people solve the problems of their own country for themselves. The U.S. needs to stay out of it and mind its own business.
Are you Venezuelan or do you have family?
No, so I'm actually Colombian.
No, I'm not. I was born in Louisiana.
Yeah. I'm from New York State.
Let the Venezuelan people.
Yeah, so that gives you an idea where these idiots' minds are. Go ahead, Pam Mulattoism.
Yes, and thanks for having me up. Happy New Year. I'll make this brief as possible. I respect you all for bringing up the fentanyl epidemic that has taken the lives of potentially millions of Americans. This is why not only do I support the U.S. invading Venezuela, I will also support the U.S. turning Venezuela into a U.S. territory comparable to a Puerto Rico or Guam or U.S. Virgin Islands. And to the liberal Americans that are upset about the U.S. invading Venezuela, you weren't crying when Venezuela was shipping tons of fentanyl into the U.S. through Mexico. So actions have consequences, really.
Yeah, 100%. And the reality is most of these people don't even know. A lot of these people are totally detached from information. They don't know what's going on in the world. They hear something, oh, that's messed up. And then they go out and start spewing their opinion about it. When Americans are dying, I don't care what the rules and the laws are. We're going to stop that first because I don't want my kid out here on dope, on fentanyl, doing God knows what, overdosing. You got to walk around with Narcan or whatever that crap is called because people out here overdosing in the street. This is not America. This is not the way America was ever meant to be. And if we have to go to the source and eliminate the source, I'm all about that. Go ahead, Cornelius.
Yeah, and it's not even an invasion. It was a strategic military operation. It's like they're not invading anything. Like it's not an invasion. It's they went in, they left. It was a visit. You know what I'm saying?
They went and they had a word for
like 30 minutes. What they say? They got him in like 30 minutes. Like what? 2 hours? Come on.
Listen, when you live in a situation like that, bro, there is no loyalty. Those soldiers weren't about to risk their lives to protect that piece of crap. They were like, go get his ass.
And then if you see the people that they were training, it's like fat people, old people. It's like he was just giving anybody that would want a gun the gun. It's like, do you want like real army soldiers? Like these, like this is it's just really crazy to me. And then the dude in the video was like, this is not American business. America needs to stay out of it. But then every time there's something happening in the Middle East, they want America to go fight on behalf of Pakistan. They want America to go fight on behalf of Ukraine. They want America to like fund other countries and, you know, make sure that we're not taking but they want us to take care of everybody else. But when we want to do something in other countries, then it's like a problem. It's very odd to me.
Yeah, they have a problem when America fights for America. When America fights for the American people.
Good point.
You know, so it's stupid. Donald Trump did a great job. Check and mate. Maduro talked all that shit and then got. Trump is going after these cartels. He has now put the president of Mexico on notice. They don't have any, you know, they want to say Trump's doing all this for the oil, right? But Mexico doesn't even have any oil. And Trump just put their president on notice that she's next if she doesn't do something about the cartel situation there. So you guys go ahead.
And they're not saying anything about Iran and China buying the oil, or you know what I'm saying, with 30% discounts on it. They're and none of the money is benefiting the country of the people there. But they're mad about Trump like presenting the idea of rebuilding it, and it's like it could cost 43 billion. Like, what's 43 billion to oil companies? You know what I'm saying? Like, stop.
It ain't shit. It ain't nothing. Let me play this because now Trump is taking aim at the Mexican president, telling her, you know what? If you don't get the situation is under control, you're next. If anyone doesn't know, Sheinbaum, who is the president of Mexico, she was a person who was a part of an over 30-person presidential field. And every single person who ran against her was assassinated by Mexican drug cartels. Everyone gets killed except you. That tells me that you're working with them. Let's tap
I'm about to get out of here. Thanks for having me up, though, bro.
I want to ask you because from your vice president, J.D. Vance, said that the message is pretty clear. The drug trafficking must stop. So was this operation a message that you're sending to Mexico, to Claudia Sheinbaum, the president there?
Well, it wasn't meant to be, and we're very friendly with her. She's a good woman, but the cartels are running Mexico. She's not running Mexico. The cartels are running Mexico. And we could be politically correct and be nice and say, oh, yes, she is. No, she's very, she's very frightened of the cartels. They're running Mexico. And I've asked her numerous times, would you like us to take out the cartels? No, Mr. President. No, please. So we have to do something because we lost. The real number is 300,000 people, in my opinion. They like to say 100,000. 100,000 is a lot of people, but the real number is 300,000 people. And we lost it to drugs, and they come in through the southern border, mostly the southern border. Plenty come in through Canada, too, by the way, in case you don't know. But they come in through the southern border, and something's going to have to be done with Mexico.
Why did you decide to do this morning?
Are you talking about calling you people or the shot?
No, taking out
I'm not sure.
Maduro.
I'm not sure which is worse. If you want to know the truth, I'm calling you. I haven't spoken to anybody else because Charlie Hurd has been a great friend of mine for a long time. He was with me when it was not fashionable, and those are the people I like. He was with me, Charlie, when it was not at all fashionable. So that's the reason I'm doing this. And your show is great. You're doing a great job. What a good team.
But I meant, why did you make the decision to take out Maduro this morning? And what was Maduro doing when our guys came in on him?
So we were going to do this 4 days ago, but the weather was not perfect. The weather has to be perfect. And we had just the perfect weather. We had, very good. A little bit few more clouds than we thought, but it was good. We waited 4 days. We were going to do this 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 2 days ago. And then all of a sudden it opened up and we said go. And I'll tell you, it was just amazing. And what was he doing? He was in a very highly guarded, like a fortress, actually. He was in a fortress. You know, that we had nobody killed was amazing. I think we had nobody killed, I have to say, because a couple of guys were hit, but they came back and they're supposed to be in pretty good shape. But that we had nobody killed, that we lost no aircraft, you know, everything came back. We got it all back. One of them was hit pretty hard, but a helicopter, but we got it back. But it just was the right time to do it. We had to do it because it's a war. We're losing 300,000 people a year. We don't lose that much in a war, okay, if you look. And we had to do it. But he was in a house that was more like a fortress than a house. It had steel doors. It had what they call a safety space where it's, you know, solid steel all around. He didn't get that space closed. He was trying to get into it, but he got bum rushed so fast that he didn't get into that. We were prepared. We had, you know, massive blowtorches and everything else that you need to get through that steel, but we didn't need it. He didn't make it to that area of the house.
Mr. President, your war on narco-terrorism from our southern border and beyond clearly will save American lives. Moving forward for Venezuela, what do you think is next for the Venezuelan people now that you have removed Maduro so that he can face American justice?
Well, we're making that decision now. We can't take a chance on letting somebody else run and just take over where he left or left off. So we're making that decision now. We'll be involved in it very much. And we want to do liberty for the people. We want to, you know, have a great relationship. I think the people of Venezuela are very, very happy because they love the United States. You know, they were run by essentially a dictatorship or worse. It couldn't have been worse. It was a terrible thing that was taking place in Venezuela. But look, tremendous numbers of people were being killed through drugs. And what they did to our country in sending prisoners and people from mental institutions and drug lords and everything, they sent them by the hundreds of thousands of people into our country. And that is just unforgivable. That's why, you know, he wanted to negotiate at the end, and I didn't want to negotiate.
Right. He wanted to negotiate so he could try to stay in power. It's so funny to me how people can Venezuela sent hundreds of thousands of people over here seeking asylum. They were running from Nicolas Maduro. They were running from the situation that he created in Venezuela. So the United States grants them asylum. The liberals understand that these people need asylum because of the dictator that they are living under. But then when we eliminate the dictator, now they have a problem with that. You know, a lot of times these people never can let you win. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I got a super chat here from my brother, Buddy Eddie, 5814. They're also completely silent on the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, stripping Africa of their resources. 1,000%. If the United States goes into Venezuela and they think it's about oil, oh, there's a problem. But these same people have nothing to say about the Chinese Communist Party stripping Africa of its resources. Laughing like Sagat said, Maduro is cooked. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a big beef. I think the vast majority of people have their heads on straight when it comes to Nicolas Maduro. That guy is straight up evil, and I think we're all glad. Yeah, but no one is happier than the people of Venezuela. I'm sure they're literally singing in the streets. But I want to go over to New York real quick. I'm not done yet. I want to go over to New York real quick, where a young Venezuelan man absolutely destroys Zoran Mamdani and his take
What are your thoughts on
about what's going on
these guys
in Venezuela. Let's go over there and have a look-see at this.
What are your thoughts on this protest? Well, these guys are paid. They're so organized. I mean, it's less than even 24 hours. They got hundreds of signs made. It's almost like they have a print shop in the back of their People's Forum over here down in the city. That being said, that if you looked at all the videos out on the internet, The people in Venezuela are happy that this is happening because now they don't have to deal with socialism and communism. But the people who are actual socialists and communists are here in America protesting against what's good for the better people in Venezuela. And that's the sad part. You know? And this is they want to turn this country into what that country is. You know, they don't want this country to be good. These people want to live in socialism and communism.
How is it related to Palestine? They're talking about Palestine.
How is it related to Palestine? I don't know. I mean,
I'm trying to figure it out.
There is no relationship with it. These people are just pretty much, like I said, they're bored liberals that have nothing better to do. They're funded, better than probably, I think, one of the best funded people in the world. Probably $18 million a year, from what I understand. They get funded.
I confronted Manolo dos Santos, leader of the People's Forum. I said, you guys got paid $20 million a year by Rolly Neville Singham to paid protests. He had no response. He didn't say that.
Well, he actually never says a word. He'll never, because he knows once he opens up his mouth, he incriminates himself. So that's
in what.
You should check out that communist flag over there.
What brings you out here today?
I'm organized with the Revolutionary Communists of America. We're out here to say hands off Venezuela. And we unequivocally stand with the people of Venezuela against U.S. imperialist aggression.
What do you think about the people of Venezuela celebrating on the streets?
What?
What do you think about the people of Venezuela celebrating on the streets today?
I saw images of Venezuelans being bombed after the U.S., bombed Caracas. So I'm not sure what you're talking about, but yeah, I think you should definitely
show me the bombings that you're talking about. I didn't see any.
I don't know. I just saw it on Reddit. It was on the front page of the internet.
Reddit.
So
Okay.
I don't know.
But what do you think about the people celebrating? The hundreds of thousands of people that are in the streets celebrating?
I have yet to see it. Can you show me that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Bro, these people are so ignorant. Literally, this guy's like, I saw some shit on Reddit, and that is what I'm using to form my whole opinion on what's happening around the world. This man is out here saying he's organizing with the United States Communist Party or whatever. He says he stands with the people of Venezuela against the imperialism of the United States. And when the interviewer asked him, well, what does he think about the Venezuelan people celebrating in the streets because now they have been rid of Maduro? He's like, oh, I haven't seen that. Can you show it to me? Bro, so you looked at Reddit and hit the streets. You didn't say, like, let me look at Reddit. Let me look at a couple different sources for information. Then go out in the street. Nope, Reddit was enough for him. Doesn't know if it was AI, doesn't know if it was straight propaganda, doesn't know if it was bombing of another city 30 years ago that's just been repurposed, recycled. He doesn't know. He saw something that triggered him emotionally, and now he's out in the street screaming death to Trump. This is how these people operate. That is why they don't want to have real conversations. And I respect this young man because at least he's willing to entertain information that may be contrary to what he already believes. But this is sad. This is pathetic.
People celebrating on the streets here. What do you think about that?
I mean, at the end of the day, I stand with the people of Venezuela against U.S. imperialism. The U.S. has no right to bomb the people of Venezuela. The U.S. has no right to kidnap another
Why are they
leader
all
of another.
celebrating? Why are they celebrating?
I don't know. Do you have a correspondent there who can ask? I'm
trying
here
to get out there
demonstrating
with the
against.
airspace.
I'm here demonstrating against U.S. imperialism.
So this is the script. He's been told what to say. I'm pretty sure he's getting paid, right? It seems like it. He's been given a script. This is what you say when they ask you a question. But my question is this: you stand with the people of Venezuela against Western imperialism, but do you stand with the people of Venezuela if they want to align themselves with Western imperialism? You can't even call it imperialism. Do you stand with the Venezuelan people if they decide to partner with the West? That's the question. Or are you just someone who is being paid to be opposition? Are you someone who is going to always find yourself on the opposite side of America on every issue, no matter what? I have friends like that. They just don't like America. They just don't like Israel. They don't know why. They just don't like it because any side that America or Israel falls on, they're going to fall on the opposite side no matter what. No matter how ridiculous or heinous the practices of the side they follow on may be.
And the U.S. intervention.
Is this AI though? These images of everybody
I don't know.
celebrating?
You're the one showing me the video, so let me know. You're showing me the source.
I don't know. I don't think it's AI because it's being published by multiple news organizations. So just what are your thoughts on it?
I'm here protesting U.S. intervention,
understand that. I
U.S.
get that.
imperialism, and U.S. capitalism.
Yeah. So once again, we're having a mask off moment.
So they hate U.S. intervention, right? They hate that. So they hate U.S. intervention. They hate it, right? But when they wanted the U.S. to intervene in Gaza, they had no problem with U.S. intervention. Isn't that the damnedest thing? They hate U.S. interventionism, but when it's something that their liberal overlords have told them the United States should intervene in, all of a sudden they're okay with U.S. intervention. Make it make sense. I mean, these guys are going to have to pick a struggle at some point.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Hello. Happy New Year. Bienvenido.
Maduro. Hey, yo, why they got Maduro dressed up like a hood nigga? They had him with the beanie and the slides. Bro, looked like he was ready to go hoop at 24, bro. They got this dude dressed up like a straight YN.
Good night. Good night. Happy New Year.
Scrum in what looks like maybe a gray or blue sweatshirt. We saw him a little bit earlier on the image that the president posted, blindfolded and handcuffed, and it appears maybe he's still blindfolded in a gray sweatshirt, which would likely come off as blue, given the daylight scenario, the lack of daylight over there. Again, Ambassador Bolton, who is behind the push? Who really wanted him out? And then number two, was there ever a plan for day two?
Well, I think the problem in the first term, a lot of the president's senior advisors wanted to work with the opposition to overthrow Maduro, who had stolen the 2018 election in Venezuela, just like he recently stole the 2024 election. Our problem was that trying to keep Trump's attention to it, and there was.
I was briefed by my first deputy mayor.
Now, notice they said the problem they had was keeping Trump's attention focused on Venezuela. Donald Trump don't give a damn about no Venezuela like that. Trump does things because they come to him and say, hey, there's people over here suffering. Then Trump says, you know what? I believe Donald Trump has a heart for people. I believe that when he hears people are suffering, he wants to do something about it. That's what I think motivated him to do something about Gaza when Biden sat on his hands for like 2 years and did nothing. And that's what I think prompted him to do something about the situation in Venezuela. And that's why I think he's going to definitely get something worked out in Ukraine. That's what America needs. More of that. Less of this like picking and choosing and, trying to be clever about what side of the aisle you fall on based on your political interest. It's really disgusting. And I honestly never thought I would see the day that America would be like this.
My chief of staff, my chief counsel, the police commissioner, as well as other members of my team, I called the president and spoke with him directly to register my opposition to this act and to make clear that it was an opposition based on being opposed to a pursuit of regime change, to the violation of federal and international law, and a desire to see that be consistent each and every day.
Congress.
I registered my opposition. I made it clear, and we left it at that.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
Shame on you. You're traitors to your country.
You're traitors to your country. You're traitors. And murderers, traitors to their country, celebrating the death of their own people. Millions of people are going to die. Venezuelans are going to die. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. War, you're cheering for the death of Americans. Americans like me are going to die on the streets of Venezuela. Shame on you. I don't want Americans like me to die so the bankers can get rich. Shame on you.
Incredible. Absolutely.
So some idiot is out here criticizing, some moron is out here criticizing the people of Venezuela, the Venezuelans who were run out of Venezuela by Maduro. He's criticizing them and shaming them because they're celebrating the fact that this dictator has been taken out of power. Boy, I tell you, the entitlement, bro. Like, why white folks, bro? Some of these white folks know no shame. You're going to tell them about their country, talking about American people will die on the streets of Venezuela. How is that possible? Maduro is gone. The people in Venezuela are celebrating having that bastard out of power. So why would that result in the loss of any American life? It makes no sense. But hey, however, whatever mental gymnastics they have to do to justify their position or to support the position they're taking on these situations, let them do it, man. Thank goodness it's not us. Thank goodness our heads are put on straight. But that's going to be all for today. Thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate everything you do for me and this channel. If you have not already, please like, share, and subscribe. Till the next time, take care of yourselves. But most importantly, please take care of each other. Welcome to 2000.